Alright guys, here we are taking on Monk Mode's third week challenge, which is recording my own SMB. It's the very first time I've ever done this, as I'm sure it is for everybody else, but I'll give it my best effort. It really does put me out of my comfort zone. So I'll just start with a quick introduction. I actually managed to match 5 pairs out of 6 for the top 6 from Mark's watch list. So I have just amended it and matched it alongside Mark's. But I do have a few of my own additionals in here, which I'll try my best to break down as well. Just starting with the DXY. So let's close this tab here. So on the weekly, we can see here that price came down in this move here from A to B, and then it's traced back around about 60%. We've ended the weekly with a bullish high test, just going down to the daily. So if I just look on here, we can see from this point to this point here, we have pulled back around about 60% here. Price has moved up in a fairly corrective format, but we do have this V-shaped structure here as well, and we've ended the daily with a bearish high test, so it does appear as though price is going to push down, but we do need lower time frame confirmation. Just going down to the 4-hour here, zooming out, we can see here that we do have this ascending channel here, which is retesting the back end of price from this low point here. So price is now pushing down, just moving down to the 1 hour. We do have an impulsive push down on the 4-hour with a correction. Price is a little bit, it's not very clear on the 1 hour, although it does appear to be moving to the downside, which for those cross dollar pairs could be pushing to the upside. It's not, price did actually fail to commit here. There is some missing price action. I mean, it could have at this point here pushed down, but it did push back up, and now it's come back down again, and we'll see how price reacts from here. Just moving on to the first pair, which is euro dollar, going to the weekly. So we had on the weekly, we did have this 1, 2, 3 here, which pushed up to the value area, and then we had a sharp impulsive drop down, which retested the back end of the low, which was the origin of the move of this 1, 2, 3, and then price pulled back up. We did have a near miss at the top here, but we did have a bullish high test. Just going down to the daily to have a look at price action. So we do have this near miss here, which price will eventually at some point come back to retest. On the daily, we do see fairly impulsive price action moving down to retest the back end of the of price over here, and now we can see we are correcting. We're forming a consolidation at the retest here. Just jumping down to the 4-hour. Now, what do we have here? So price broke down. We had our confirmation, we had the signal price action, and then it pushed back up quite impulsively. We had bullish momentum, so we have our confirmation price action there as well. We can see this a bit more clearly on the daily. There's the signal, there's the confirmation. We have ended the daily with a bullish low test here, so it does look like price is going to push to the upside, back to the 4-hour, and then just looking at the 1 hour here. So price is here now. How I would be looking to play this is we do have this wick here. So what I would be looking to do is for price to, and I'm just going to bring this down here, price to push up through, fill the wick, and then form a correction here, right there. Sorry, my drawing is not very good at the moment, still practicing. And then maybe look to taking the long from here. So we've got 22 pips there. We can get in at 10 pips. Right there, we've got a good stop protection. And I'd be looking at the bare minimum. We've got this leg on the left here. Very impulsive price action on the left, and what happens is it will tend to mimic price action, and then we have a potential 9.5 to 1 there. So I would be looking for that move. Okay, next pair CAD yen. Just going to the weekly, having a look at price action here. Not the all-time high, but I mean, if we'll just look at the last few years of data, like from 2022 onwards, we had price push down here impulsively, play around in this area, push back up. There was a near miss at this point, but we have then moved up and we have tapped into this area here, forming a new high, and then price has, in a kind of a V-shaped format, pulled back down, come back up to retest price action here. Just looking at the day, we have ended up on a slightly bit of a doji candle here. We'll just look at the daily for some more confirmation. I'm just going to close that. So on the daily, yep, we can see the V-shaped structure there, and then we do have this, looks like a ascending channel here, bullish price action here. Just looking at the 4 hour, the 4 hour looks a lot cleaner. So we have, if I just mark on this area here, and we have come up quite correctively, and then we messed about in this area here. I mean, we did have something, we did have a bit of a pattern here, looks like a 1 2 3, but the last leg as we moved up to retest this area here was very impulsive, and then we are now forming a 1 2 3 here. So just looking at the 1 hour, we've got this 1 2 3 here, we've got kind of equal spacing there, we've got a middle section, we're trading above here. What I would be looking at doing here is, if I just extend this here, we know that this is the high, this is the value area, so the positioning is good, we've got a good positioning here, and then I would be looking at price breaking down here, forming a correction, and for me this would be an ideal spot to take a short. So let's see how that looks here. Do we have good stop protection? And I'm going to be looking at whether this is a structured or a non-structured flag here. Now if it's a non-structured flag, I'd be looking at 6 to 8 15-minute candles, with this being a 1 hour structure. I mean, having said that, yeah, we can see it a little bit on the 4 hour, but it's very small, so I would be taking this as a 1 hour structure, a 1 hour push down, and then 6 to 8 15-minute candles here, and we can get in it with good stop protection here. We can get in at around about, yeah, I think even 12 pips. We can get in at 12 pips here, and then just to the bottom here, we've got a 4 to 1, and then coming down to the bottom here, we've got a 13 to 1. I wouldn't need to aggressively manage it because price action to the left is fairly impulsive as well. So if this price does mimic price action to the left, then we could be looking at a nice sharp move to the downside here. But always keeping an open mind, because anything can happen. Now in terms of if it's a non-structured flag here, we can get in here at 10 pips, and then to the bottom we have a 5.5 to 1, and then to this low here we've got a 16.8 to 1. So this would be my first target point here. It doesn't look like price will continue to move to the upside unless something happens here, because this is a bit of a squeeze here. If I just look on the 4 hour, yeah, I mean, you can see it more clearly on the 1 hour. So we've got a bit of a squeeze here, and let's see what happens. I will be looking at price to just break down here, just bearing in mind price could push to the upside. Okay, that's CAD yen. EJ is my next one. Going to the weekly, let's have a look at weekly price action. So just zooming out here, this appears, it's not the all-time high here, but as we can see, in a very long time, since 2008, we have come to this high here. So this is the current all-time high, not the all-time high. So price came into the top here, we pushed down very impulsively, price came back up, and then we formed a new value area. Looking at the daily, we've got this new value area, we've got a beautiful V-shaped structure here. I love these candles. Look at this bullish low test here for that push up, even though it went up in an impulse correction continuation. So we've got our phases here. The daily has ended with a very bullish doji candle. Let's have a look at the 4 hour, what's going on with this. So as price came back up here, we look to be forming a 1 2 3 here, and if we just dissect this, I'm going to just go down to the 1 hour for this one. So we've got the first touch, second touch here, we've got the middle section, impulse correction continuation. The last leg appears to be a squeeze. I mean, we could say impulse correction continuation, but we've got quite a bit of an exhaustive price action here. The way I'd be looking at taking this, we do have a bit of an intersection here, but I'd be looking for price to continue its little squeeze up to the top here, tap in there for the third touch, push back down. I wouldn't be looking for a risk entry here, forming a continuation or a correction just below the high, and then I'd be looking for a short here. And let's have a look at what that looks like. So we have if it's a non-structured flag, again, is it a 4 hour? Let me just go back onto here. So we can see this on the 4 hour. I would be looking at a clean 1 hour push, and then we can get in at almost 15 pips here, and then just to the middle here. The middle is the strongest section of a 1 2 3. We've got looking at a 5.7 to 1, and then just to the bottom, the origin of the move here, we've got a 9 to 1. So just using this as a first kind of profit target here. If this is a non-structured flag here, I would be looking at a 15-minute two touch or a 3 touch, and then we could get in here at 10 pips, and then just to the middle of the 1 2 3 here, again the strongest section, we've got a 8.7 to 1, and then to the bottom here a 14.3 to 1. So it's a beautiful move here with very good risk reward here. Management wouldn't be that aggressive here. I would kind of just set this and just watch it play out. I am just wary of the fact here that price is squeezing in the last leg, so it could just continue to squeeze up. So let's see what happens with this. Okay, GU wasn't one of my pairs on my watch list here. I did add this on as per Mark's SMB watch list. Just going to the weekly here. So what do we have? Price pushed from point A to point B. Didn't come back down to the bottom. We've got a near miss here. I'll just mark all this area down here. This is all the near miss section. And it pushed back up over 50% here. We've got this section here, just sideways price action. We ended the weekly with a bearish doji, no real confirmation there. Let's go down to the daily. So here we have an inflection point. So we have all of this sideways price action here, very corrective price action, but towards the end we did have a very strong impulsive push down. Price came back up, and now we're pushing down in this channel. Let's have a look at the 4 hour. I'm just going to flip the chart here so I can view it this way. So on the 4 hour, we do look to be forming a 1 2 3. So we've got our first section here. We've got a middle section. It's quite a large 1 2 3. And I would be looking at here. I'm going to go down to the 1 hour just to draw this on. I would be looking for price to push up 1 2 3. Tap into this area here at the intersection, push back down, form a correction here, and then I'd be looking at a short. I'll just flip the chart back. Sorry, excuse me. So I would be looking at a let's have a look here. No, I'd be looking at a long here. Okay. If it's a long, we can get in. If it's a non-structured flag, we can get in at 10 to 1 or even a 12 to 1. Playing out this move here to the middle section, we've got 8.5 to 1, and to the top here we've got a 13.6 to 1. Now on the flip side, if price does push down, so if price does continue its squeeze here. I'm just going to remove all these lines from here and just flip the chart back. Now on the flip side, if price does squeeze, sorry, I'm picking up the wrong tools here. So if price does come down here in a squeeze, and I'll be looking for a breakdown of this inflection point and forming a correction just beneath there, and then we have a short. Just see how that looks here. So tapping into the origin of the move here. The reason for this is we have all of this volume built up here. This is why I was favoring the long, because we had all this volume build up here, and then that strong push up. This is why I was looking for a strong push up again. But if price does squeeze, it breaks down, forms this continuation below the inflection point, then I will be looking at a short coming down here. So let's have a look here. 12.5 to 1. No, sorry, 12.5 pips. And we've got 2.75 there. No, I mean, just to here we've got 8.7 to 1. And at 12 pips, almost a 9 to 1 there. So for me, it would be the long on this, but I am open to the short as well. Okay, next pair, AU. I've already got this marked on actually. So just having a look at the daily, at the weekly, sorry, I've been looking at the weekly first. We have tapped into this area. We can see this better on the daily. So we've tapped into this inflection point here, which can be seen clearer on the 4 hour, but I'm just going to go back up. You see the volume here. I'm just going to go back up to the daily here. Just having a look at this. Okay, weekly, we have two beautiful bullish low tests here, which is signaling a push to the upside. And then if I go to the daily, we've got this inflection point where we had this slight bit of volume build up here. We'll see this better on the lower time frames. So we had this signal and confirmation price action. It's not very clear because we only just tapped into this area. We didn't clearly break through. So anything can happen here. I mean, price can trace back. On the daily, we've got 1, 2 kind of full body impulsive candles to the upside, but then we ended with a somewhat of a doji. I mean, the wick on the bottom is longer. Do I class this as a low test? That remains to be seen. So just coming back up here. So this is my trade thesis for the long. If I look at the 4 hour, so like I said, we have the volume that's built up here. This was the trigger for the move to the upside here. So we had impulse correction continuation. We had the near miss in this area here, so that will eventually get filled. But on the 4 hour, we've got this price action. We've got this impulsive price action here. We've got 1, 2, 3. And now we are, although this is trading below here, let's have a look at the 1 hour. So I did have a possible, I found this not so much of a hook point. It looks like a bit of a hook point. What's that? What does that look like on the 15? I mean, even we could draw something on here. So if I just get rid of this for a minute. And let's have a look at, let's see how this looks. I'm just going to flip the chart. Okay, so we've got this hook point here. We've got this first touch. I will be looking for price to push down, come back up here, middle section, form the middle section, 1, 2, 3, and then push. So if we get this, I'm just going to flip the chart back. The only thing that I don't like about this is that it's beneath this point here, but then again it is through this point here, and this, because it's got a wick at the top here, it does appear to be more of the weightier area that I would use as my inflection point here. So if we do get a retrace, just testing the back end of this hook point with a 1, 2, 3, then I will be looking at a long here, and the risk entry, let's have a look here, 10 pips, adequate stop protection here, 10 pips here, and then look at the leg on the left here, beautiful. Moving up to there, we've got a possible 8.3 to 1. Can I see any shorts in here? At this point, if price, let's just get rid of that for a minute. If price was to push down, break through here, this inflection point, let me just go back because I'm on the 15 here. I'm going to use the 1 hour. If price pushes down here through this inflection point that we can see on the 15, forms a continuation here, and it has to be very clean and clear, and that's the only point I'd be looking for a short here. And again, we've got adequate stop protection here, we've got 10 to 1, just filling that wick there, 2.5, coming down to the bottom, 7.8, but that's not the weightier option for me. The long would be the weightier option for me. So this is what I'd be looking at. Okay, AJ, let's have a look at the weekly. We've got this squeeze on the weekly. We tapped into this area. We actually broke through this area. So we've got this, looks like a value area to me. I mean, even though the top is always the value area, I think Mark would tell me that that's an inflection point here. I'm still learning between what is a value area, what is an inflection point here. I mean, in terms of this, I can see the volume that's been built up here for this value area. This has just been a little bit of a hook. It's come back like a weekly hook. So probably, yeah, I'd call that an inflection point, but it's a strong inflection point. Okay, so price came back. Nice price action here. So we've got 1, 2, 3. And then 1, 2, 3, it's almost mimicked what's happened on the left here. Price has tapped into this. We had a 1, 2, 3 here. So we've got this 1, 2, 3, kind of a squeeze. You can see it on the weekly, and then a push down. We've got this M style pattern. So we've got this M style pattern here that could be forming. Let's have a look. What did the week finish on? So not the best of candles, but it is actually a good candle, because we are looking for price to continue to move up just to this area here to fill this wick on the left. Having a look on the daily, so we can see the M style pattern a bit more clearly. There's the M, and this section here is a bit of a squeeze, kind of sideways, like an ascending channel here. I mean, we could draw this on a little bit larger here. It does match the trade thesis that I do have here. Okay, so just going down, having a look at the daily, price is moving up here. We are looking for price to tap into this value area here, this inflection point. I'm going to call this value area. And then having a look at the 4 hour. So price is, I mean, yeah, I would be looking for price to push up, break through here with signal price action, come back down with the confirmation, form a, because it's a large 4 hour, I will be looking for a clean 4 hour push, and then I'd be looking to the 1 hour to see what kind of correction that we do get here. If it's a 1 hour structured flag, then I'd be playing this just below here, getting in at 30 pips, but ideally I would like for this to be a 1 hour structured flag in the form of a 1, 2, 3 would be absolutely ideal. And then price to the left here is, I mean, this looks to, it could move up impulsively. I'm going to see, it could be correctively. Let's see how price plays out. And I mean, just to come down to this wick here, we've got a 10 to 1 here, and then Just looking at this point here, 20 to 1. Very ambitious. That'd be lovely. And let's see how that plays out. Okay, looking at the additionals, GA. GA on the 4 hour. I'm just going to show the 4 hour inflection point here. We have tapped into it with a 1, 2, 3. We've pushed down impulsively. Just having a look at the 1 hour. I am looking for price. We are forming this correction here. I'm looking for price to just tap into here. So 1, 2, even though the second point didn't touch the bottom here, but we do have this middle section. I'm looking for price to move up here, just to tap into this area, come back down and push to the downside. GJ, just have a look at the daily on this. It's beautiful. Look at this value area here where we had this strong push down here. We have come back to this area here. On the daily, we can see the 1, 2, 3 coming up to that area. Taps broke through. Confirmation, signal, price action. It's not clearly broke back in yet. So let's have a look at the 4 hour. I would be looking for price to break back in. This is the value area. Break back in, fill this wick here, form a 1 hour continuation below there. And then we can get in at, well, we've got 22, 23 pips here just for adequate stop protection there as well. And we have nice price action to the left here, that if we can mimic that, just to the bottom here, 11, almost a 12 to 1 there. So that'd be lovely if that played out. Euro Chef, okay. So in Euro Swiss here, on the weekly, all-time low. Just zoom in here, all-time low. So we did break through, we broke back in, but again we've done the same. It failed to commit on the first time. So on its second attempt, we've brought back down again. We've had this low test candle here, which is more of a confirmation candle. It's better than the price action that we had on the first time round, even though we did have somewhat of a morning star. It wasn't the clearest. So we've pushed up here, 1, 2, and as Mark says, we usually get the 3, so 3 candles in a row. Let's see how that plays out. On the daily, we have, yeah, it's clearer. We can see that push through, even though we are still trading below this point here. And we are forming a continuation here. So we've got, let's have a look at the 4 hour here. So I will be looking at, and I know even though it is trading below this point, we are still trading above this point, well, kind of through it, but we have broke through this. We are coming back down here. So looking at the 1 hour, I would be looking at price to tap into this area, form this 1, 2, 3, push back up, continuation here, and then looking for the long to the upside. And just looking at price action to the left, if we can get to this wick here, just going to make that more clearer. Get to this wick here, and we've got a possible 7.3 to 1 there. So I will be looking at a long on Euro Swiss. Euro Kiwi, looking on the weekly. V-shaped structure here. So we've got from point A to point B. We came back up. We've moved up correctively. And then on the weekly, we do have this 1, 2, 3, which intersected with this low here. We push back up. Just have a look at the daily. So we push back up, retraced 50% of this impulsive move, push back down, formed an inflection point here. I'm going to flip the chart. Formed this inflection point here. Looking at the 4 hour. And we are moving up to this area. If we get a 1, 2, 3 moving up to here, I will be looking at a push down from here. Continuation. And then just flipping it back for the longs. And if we can get in here at 15, 10 pips. So we've got almost 12 pips here. Just to the middle. We've got ourselves a possible 9 to 1. And to the top of that move there. Got a 14 to 1. And we do have this wick here. So price could come back to fill the wick. I will also just be wary of the fact that price could break through. So at this point here, it could break through this area, form a continuation here, and then we could also be looking at the short. And then we've got almost a 7 to 1 to the bottom there. Last but not least, we've got Kiwi CAD. Okay, let's have a look at the weekly. Okay, so price pushed down impulsively, impulse correction continuation. We had an impulsive push up, and then correctively price came down, traced back about 70% of this move. We've got the inflection point here. Positioning wise, okay, we've got the near misses here. I'm just going to go down to the daily just to see this a little bit better. So price tapped into this area here. This was the origin of that push up, and then we had all this sideways price action. Let's just have a look at this here. I'm just going to go down to the 4-hour for more confirmation. I mean, what I would be looking at here is price to just push down, tap into this area, push up. If we do get a continuation, then I will be looking at a move to the upside just to fill this, and this could come down in the form of a 1, 2, 3. Alright, thank you guys, thanks for watching.